Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to make this hexagon granny square sweater. Very simple. It works up really fast. It does take a lot of yarn though because we're doing the granny stitch here. So yeah, this is what we're gonna be working on. And so if you're interested in making this, please don't forget to stay and follow the tutorial to the end. And as you can see here, I do make the cuffs tight like this for this one, and also do this border here. And in the other one that I'm showing you guys here in the pictures, I am doing it a little bit different just so you guys can see the difference. I do two colors, and also just leave the sleeves to flare out as opposed to this blue one where the sleeves are snatched in like this. And yeah, so hopefully you will be able to follow through. If I will explain to you if you're looking for the other version, the version that has two colors, I will explain to you how you would get that. But for this particular tutorial, we're going to be concentrating more on making this blue one, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so for this project, you're going to need the following items. I have my yarn here. It's this blue color. It goes by color number 1338. This is by a company called Azurite. It's 100% acrylic. This skein here is 50 grams. I'm going to need about 500 grams altogether, about 500 grams. So I have a pack of 10 that I got at 50 grams each, okay? They're recommending a hook size that is 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook for crochet. I am going to be using a 5 millimeter crochet hook, which is H8 US, just so I don't make my work a little too tight, okay? I have my scissors here. I have a darning needle, which I will probably not need, but if you do need it, I will explain how you can use it. And some stitch markers as well that I will probably not need it, but if you need them, I'll show you how and when you can use them. And of course, a tape measure to be able to determine our sizes, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started here. So we're going to start by making one of the panels. So we're gonna need two panels altogether, the right and the left. And we're going to start by doing a hexagon, and we're going to continue to work on the hexagon, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a magic circle or a magic ring. And so you can do it however you usually do it, but I do mine like this. I make sure I have a long tail like this so I don't lose it while I work into it, into the circle. So while I have that here, I'm just going to loop it around my thumb like this. Then I will hold it like that and then slip it off my finger. And I will make sure I pull it to make sure it's big enough while I'm holding this X here with my thumb. Okay, and then I'm going to take my hook and then I'm going to put it into that ring or the circle. Then I'm going to yarn over the ring that is coming from my from this bunch here, and I'm going to bring it through like this, okay? And while I'm holding this circle here open, I'm going to chain 2. So 1, 2. This chain of 2 counts as a double crochet. And then I'm going to do 3 double crochets, which is 1 already done by the chain 2, and I'm going to add 2 more. So that's the second one, and then I'm going to add a third one like that, okay? And then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go into the circle again and do 3 more double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to chain 1 and do 3 more double crochets, and we're going to do this until we have 6 clusters of 3 double crochets, okay? So go ahead and complete until you have 6 all together, and then come back to the video. Okay, so I have my 6 corners here. So I have the clusters of 3 double crochets separated by chain 1. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so with having 6 here, I'm going to pull the string here from our magic circle just so we can close that circle in like this. It doesn't have to be done very tight right now. You can just leave it like that, and you can obviously tighten it when you end up weaving it all together, okay, when you weave it in. Now, as you can see, I'm going to join this side here with this side, and I would need to do a chain 1 to create that corner there. And then out of this chain 1, 2 that we did to start the row with, I'm going to go on top of that chain 2 and complete a slip stitch like this. So this is now that corner here, okay? Now I have my 6 corners because we're doing a hexagon, and I'm going to work the second row, so I will show you how to do that, and then we will move on from there. So but for now, I'm going to show you how to do the next couple of rows. I'm going to show you, but for now I'm going to show you how to do the next couple of rows, and then we'll move on from there, okay? So with slip stitching here, I'm going to start with a chain of 2. Your chain of 2 always counts as a double crochet. And then that chain 1 that we did before we did the slip stitch, we're going to work 2 double crochets into that. So I'm going to yarn over, go into that big circle here, and big gap, not circle, and complete 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, and then the third is the the chain 2 that we started with here. Okay, so like that. And then I'm going to move on to the next spot right here, and I'm going to, so I'm skipping these 3 double crochets here. So I'm skipping 1, 2, 3, and into the chain 1 gap, I'm going to complete the first 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to chain 1 and then complete 3 more double crochets into the same gap. So 1, 2, and 3. So that is one of the corners here, okay? Then I'm going to move on to the very next chain 1 spot, which is skipping 3 stitches here, and into the 4th stitch I will complete 3 more double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and then 3 more into that same spot. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is my other corner here, and as you can see, we're pretty much doubling up all around here. So you're going to repeat that in the next chain 1 gap, and then in the next chain 1 gap, and then in the final chain 1 gap here. And when you've completed these 3 spots where you do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the same chain 1 spot, when you have completed those, come back and I will show you how to complete this row and how to start the next. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I have completed the row, or almost completed the row here. So as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corners created. There's a final one here. So to go into the final one, remember the first way we started the row here. There's a chain 2 and then 2 double crochets into that same gap. So we're gonna need to increase it to 6 because as you can see, we have a corner consisting of 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, so 6 double crochets all together. So we're gonna need to make sure we complete that here. So we go directly after here, we go directly into that gap here and do 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're gonna need to do a chain 1 to complete this here because we're gonna slip stitch on top of the chain 2. So 1, 2, and on top of that chain 2, we're gonna slip stitch. Okay, so as you can see, now we have all 6 corners. We have this corner, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to create our hexagon. Okay, all right, so we're gonna move to row 3, and this is pretty much how you're gonna continue to repeat here. So you do a chain 2, which counts as a double crochet, and then in that same chain 1 stitch here, we're going to do 2 more double crochets to do 3 to make it 3. So 1, 2, and then we move on to this gap here. So the chain 1 gap, or the gap that we had from the previous row. So there's no chain 1 here, but there's just a gap that separates these stitches here from the corner. We're going to go right into that space, and we're going to do 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And since it's not a corner, we're not going to create a corner. So we're going to move on to the corner, which is right here. And every time we have a corner, we need to do 6 double crochets, which is 3 separated by a chain 1 and then 3. Okay, so I'm going to go right into that chain 1 spot of the corner, and I'm going to complete 6 double crochets all together in the same spot, but we're going to separate the 6 by doing 3 chain 1 and then 3 more. So 2, 3, okay, and then chain 1, and then we will do 3 more double crochets into the same space because we're doing a corner. So everywhere there's a corner, you're gonna need to do the 6 double crochets. Okay, so 2 and 3. So that's how we do our corner here. Okay, and then we move on to this gap here. There's no stitch here, but it's just the gap that we skipped to go to the other side, and we're gonna go straight into that gap and do 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And because it's not a corner, we're just gonna leave it at 3. Then we're gonna move on to the corner. We're gonna do the 3 chain 1 and then 3 double crochets. Okay, so 2, 3 chain 1 and then 3 more. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we move to the non-corner gap here and do 3 double crochets. So you're not chaining or doing anything, you're just going straight into the spot and doing 3 double crochets like this. Okay, and then we go into the corner, and that's where we do our 6 double crochets, which is 3 chain 1, 3 chain, and then 3 double crochets. So 2, 3 chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets here. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and so I'm gonna let you finish this row here, where you pretty much after here now you're gonna do the 3 double crochets in this gap here, and then go straight to the middle of the corner and do 6, which is separated by chain 1 between the 3 and between the 6, and then do the same here, the same here, the same here. And then when you have done your 3 double crochets in this area right here, come back. I will show you how to complete this row again, and then we will just work this repetition all the way until we have the size. So we'll talk about the size as well, or how you determine how big or small you want it. Okay, so for now, just work your stitches, repeat exactly what we did here until you get to this final chain 3 double crochets right here. I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have come to finishing the 3rd row here. So as you can see, I've completed my corners as well as the stitches between. And as you can see, I did my last 3 double crochets here, and now I'm gonna join to the side so I can also complete the corner here. Okay, so again, like we did the 2nd row, I'm gonna go straight into that gap and complete 3 double crochets just like this. Oops. Just like that. Oh, slippery hook today, like that. And then chain 1, and then we're gonna slip stitch on top of the chain 2. Okay, so again, if you see the 3rd row, that's how our hexagon looks so far. And so we're going to repeat that, except every row that you go, you're gonna have more and more of these gaps that you need to just do 3 double crochets before you get to the corner, because we are increasing the work and it's gonna keep going higher and higher. So I'm gonna do these 2 here just so you can see that we need to do 2 in this row, and the next row is gonna be 3, 4, 5, and then just continues like that. So I do a chain 2 to start, and then complete 2 more double crochets here to make it 3. Okay, and then I move to this gap here direct, and I just work 3 double crochets in that gap. If my hook will not stop slipping off, that would be nice, like that. And then I will move directly to the next gap right here and complete 3 double crochets. Because it's not a corner, I'm not doing the 6 double crochets in the same gap. I'm just doing 3, and then when I get to the corner I will increase. So as you can see, these 2 gaps here, I'm just doing 3 double crochets on each gap. In the next row we will be able to do 3, 4, and then it just increases as we go more and more into the work. So now it's a corner. I'm going to do my corner here, which is, by now you know how to do it, which is 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets, all of it going into the same chain 1 gap from the previous row. Okay, 1, 2, and oops, and 3. Okay, so I'm gonna just stop here so I can explain how you're gonna keep working at this as you go forward, because you're just repeating this to create the size that you're looking for. So as you can see here, this is so far how the 4th row looks. Okay, I'm gonna work a few more rows here just so you can see how it builds up. So I'll probably do 3 to 4 more rows, and then when I come back I will talk to you about how you will work until you have the size. Okay, but for now I just want to make sure you guys see how, as you grow this work, how it's gonna keep looking. And because it is a hexagon, as you can see, it's already not sitting quite flat on the table, it's a little bit folding, and it will continue to do that as we work onto it. So I will work a few rows so I can show you guys how that looks, and then we will talk about the sizing. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked about 6 rows all together here. So I just wanted to come and show you how it looks like. It may shock you that your work is not sitting flat on the table as you continue to work on it. That's absolutely normal, so don't worry about it. It's a hexagon. It's going to continue to just kind of shrink up like this the more rows that you do. Okay, so I have done 6 rows together here. I have done my measurements already, so I'm going to talk about the measurements now. So all I do for this part of the project is I get the widest part of my arm and I measure that. Okay, so I put my tape measure. I'm gonna show you just my wrist here. This is not to say that this is how wide my arm is at all, but I take the widest part of my arm and I put my tape measure around like this. So as you can see, I have a very tiny wrist. I have about 6 inches for my wrist here, but for the widest part of my arm I have about 10 inches like this. So this is pretty much the widest part of my arm like this. Okay, so if I was to measure towards the body, towards my shoulder, this is how wide my arm is, the widest part of my arm, which is about 10 inches if you spread it out like this. Okay, so with that said, this is if I do it tight. This is measuring it very tight. Obviously I don't want my sweater to be really tight on me, so I have decided to increase that to about 16. So I increased it by 4 extra inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 extra inches. Okay, that means that now the circumference of my arm is like that much. Okay, so this is how wide I want my sweater to be. So as I continue to work on my work here, what I will do is I will continue to fold it like this, because this is how it's gonna end up. Well, let me just redo it here. This is how it's gonna end up being on me eventually. So this will be the body, this is the arm, and this is the part that I will continue to measure. I will continue to measure this part like this until this length here goes to 8 inches. So it should be taking me to 8 inches, because altogether I want it to be 16 inches. Okay, when you spread it out like this, I want this part here to be 16 inches, which is right now only 6, about 5.5. So it means I have a long way to go. So that's how you would determine how long to continue to work on this. The most important part of it is that you need your shoulders you need your arm part to be able to fit your arm when you put it on. You need these here to be enough gap for your arm to come through. Okay, so like I said, I've done 6 rows here all together. I'm going to continue, and I'm going to continue to measure, and when I get my when I get to 8 inches for this section here, then I will come back to the video, and then we will move on to the next step. And of course, you guys need to do exactly the same. We all have different sizes. If you're making a large, extra large, an extra small, all you need to do is just measure the arm of the person that you're making it for, and make sure this area here will fit them when they put it on. And of course, because it's a sweater, often we want to do it a little bit loose, so you can increase the number of inches based on how loose you want it to be. Okay, so I'm gonna continue working on my project here, and I'll come back when I have what I need, and you guys will do the same. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have continued to build up my sweater here, and as you can see, this is pretty much what I've done so far, and I've decided to stop at about 18 rows, but 18 with an exception of 2 sides. Okay, so as you can see here, this is where we started this row, this final row, which is my 18th row, but I did not complete my 18th row. I went here, I went all the way here, I went all the way here, I went all the way here, and I stopped here. So I have 2 corners that I have not worked into. Okay, as you can see, this is the end here, and this is where I stopped working on it. And there's a reason for that. Okay, so if you have completed a full row, I should have probably talked to you guys about this before, but if you have completed a full row and you've decided that's the length that you want, you can either undo the 2 sides here, this side and this side, or you can do one more row but just stop in the in this 4th side. So you do 4 sides altogether, not complete the last 2. All right, so with that said, I'm gonna show you why we stopped here and how we're gonna be able to work it so that this side is still going to have that final row, this final side completed. It's just we're not doing it right now, we're doing it in the next step of the project. Okay, so as you can see, the string that we left hanging is going to be a guide for this part of the project. Why? Because we're gonna be folding it in like this so that this side is on the inside. If you fold it with this side on the inside, it's going to be a little bit off in terms of how you will fold it. So again, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to do here. So with this, the final side like this that is not completed, I'm going to flip my work like this, and I'm going to fold those 2 sides like this. And then I'm going to do it like this. Okay, so as you can see, this is how I will fold my work. This side where the string is on the inside. And all I do here, so I'm just going to repeat it again so you guys can see, because I know this can be a little bit tricky. So you have your work like this. This is where you stopped working on it. Okay, you're going to flip it so that this one side you have not completed, you're going to kind of flip it all together to your right. And then the side, the final 2nd side that you have not completed, you're going to hold it like this. You're going to flip your work so that this string is facing up. And then you're going to take these 2 sides and fold it like this. Okay. And then you're going to pretty much bring the side that was where you stopped, bring it in, and then like this. Okay. See that? And then from here, because I'm right-handed, if you were to be a left-handed person, you would probably work from here. But because I'm right-handed, I'm going to flip my work like this. And I'm going to be working on it from this point here to here. Okay. All right, so that is it here. This is my 17 rows with an exception of one more row that I'm going to complete here. So we're going to do this side here to complete our 18th row with this by working on this side here. Okay. All right, so with that said, then I'm going to start by joining the top here, okay, which is part of the top of the sleeve. We're going to complete that here, and then we will increase our sleeve when we complete this, because we're going to be working towards the end of the sleeve here. I hope this is making sense. And if it's not, please ask in the comment section below, and I'll try to explain it in writing as much as I can. So I'm just getting my project ready here so I can show you how to join the top here, and then we will move on. And I'm going to show you how to do one side fully all the way to the end, and then you will do the exact same thing for the second part of the project. So I have my work here. I'm going to be working by joining the two here like this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that. As you can see, we just did 3 double crochets. It's a corner, but we did not complete the other 3. And this is where we will do it now. So I'm going to grab the other side, and I'm going to go in from the back into the center section. So the chain 1 section, I'm going to go into it from up like this, and I'm going to go and grab the work I'm working on back, bring it back out like this. Okay, and then I'll do a slip stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to complete this corner here. So I'm going to go into it and work 3 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so as you can see, I end up completing this corner here like that. And then I'm going to take my hook again, and in this gap here, so as you can see, this is the other side of the work, this gap here, I'm going to go into it again from the top, and then bring my hook through back like this, and then complete a slip stitch. And then I'm going to go into the next gap here and complete 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And one thing you need to keep in mind here, so as you can see, we're pretty much just kind of lining up these 3 double crochets, lining up with these 3 double crochets. And as you can see, I'm going to be lining these 3 up like this. One thing you need to keep in mind is don't do this too tight, because it's going to crunch up the top of your sweater like this. You want to make sure it's loose enough that it sits flat like that. Okay, so I've done my 3 double crochets here. I'm going to go into the next gap from the other side, go in from the top, and then bring in my hook and complete a slip stitch. Okay, I hope you're following here. And then in the next gap here, after skipping these 3 double crochets, I'm going to do 3 double crochets in this gap. So 1, 2, and 3. Then I will go into the next gap here, this guy here, go in, grab my yarn, bring it in, complete a slip stitch, then go into this gap right here and complete 3 double crochets. So you're always skipping the cluster of double crochets and go right into this space that you have on the left hand side to complete 3 double crochets. And then when you finish those, you go into the other side in the next gap from the last one that you did. You're gonna go in and complete a slip stitch. Okay, so you're gonna repeat this all the way to the corner here. So what I would say is work the way you did the joining here until you have reached the final chain 3 spot. So you'll do your chain 3 stitches here and then come back to the video, and I will show you how to complete the rest of this row here, and then we will work on the sleeve. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have joined this. So I'm just going to quickly show you here what we have done so far. So this is what we have done. We're pretty much lining up these clusters of double crochets like that. Okay, so go ahead and complete this, and I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have continued to join this here. As you can see, this is the joining section from here, and now I have reached almost the end. So as I said, you complete the 3 double crochets right here, and then I will show you how to finish the rest of it. So again, we still have this gap here on the other side that we will go into and complete a slip stitch just like we have been doing, just like that. And then we're going to go right into the chain 1 spot for this corner here, and we're going to complete 3 double crochets there. So 1, 2, and 3. And then as you can see, there's still this gap here, so we're gonna need to connect it to the other side. So what I do, this is the chain 2 from the this section that we had started the row with. I am just going to go into the top of that chain 2 and complete a slip stitch just like we have been doing, just like that. And then I'll complete a slip stitch like that. Okay, so as you can see, then these 3 clusters of double crochet here matches with the one that we just completed here. Okay, so this completes the joining of the sleeve here. So this is our sleeve here. This is going to be part of the body of the sweater. And so of course this sleeve is too short, so we're going to need to continue to increase it on this side. Okay, so I'm just gonna explain something really quick here for you guys. I had initially said that if you had a stitch a darning needle and you want to join it, use it to join your work, you can. So when we had completed 4 corners and not the last 2, if you're going to use your darning needle to join, then you would have just finished all the corners, and then at the end you would line up your work like this, just like we did here, and then you would take the yarn, you take a string of yarn, and then you would join it here however you usually join it. Okay, but if you don't use this technique of joining it like this, then what I just showed you here is the second technique. Okay, now just for the measurements as well, you always want to make sure you double check to make sure that it is going to fit you. So like I said, my arm is about 10 inches the circumference is, which means 5 would have been enough for me like this, but this would have been really tight for me. Like this gap here would have meant that my sweater is fitting really tightly, and I wanted to increase so that my sweater is loose. As you can see, the sleeve here is really wide, and it comes up to about 8.5 inches, which I'm not mad at. Could have done 1 row less, but it's okay. It's if it's loose, it's not that bad as long as it's not too tight. So this is what I was talking about. This is the size that I'm looking to have here. All right, so now that we have completed joining the top, we're going to now increase the length of our sleeve. And again, what you will do is you will take a tape measure and you will measure your arm. Okay, so the length of your arm from the top of your shoulder blade, and you will measure it to determine what length you want to get for your sweater. Okay, so if I measure mine here, it's about 18 inches, 19 if I make it a little bit go further. And so I would say, let's say 18 inches. Okay, so then when I measure what I have so far here, and I usually do it from where my armpit starts, so I have 8 inches so far. I'm gonna need to increase it, let's say to about 15, let's say 14, because we're gonna do a calf for our sleeve here. We're gonna make sure it comes in properly, so I will probably stop like somewhere here and then make this part here where we will do the calf of the sleeve. Okay, so I will probably increase my work, let's say by another let's say another 4 or 5 inches. And if I do that, then that would take me to about let's see here, I want it to take me to 14. I have 8 already. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 to 6 more inches to do, and then I will stop it there, and then we will do the tight part, which is the calf of the of our sleeve. Okay, so again, I'm gonna work here until I have the length that I'm looking for, so you will do the same. And then when you have that, you will come back and then I will show you how to do the calf. But for now, obviously, I will show you how to work the rest of the sleeve here, and then I will have you guys complete it. Okay, all right, so I hope I'm not talking too much on this video. I'm just trying to explain it as much as possible for you guys to understand, so it's not going to confuse you guys and then you're frustrated with watching the video on how you need to do your work. So I would rather over explain so you guys understand than to under explain. So I have my work here like this, and now I'm going to work my stitches so that we can work around here the sleeve. Okay, So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a chain 2 because that is what we use to start our work. And then in this gap here, I'm going to do 2 more double crochets to make it 3. So 1 and 2, so chain 2 being the third one. Okay, now that I have completed that, I'm going to jump into this center here, and I'm going to do 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to go into the next gap, so I'm skipping these clusters of 3 double crochets here, and in the next gap here I'm going to go ahead and do 3 more double crochets, and then in the next gap do 3 more double crochets. And as you can see, we just repeat this all the way until you come back around to where we started off. So I'm gonna have you guys work these double crochet clusters, 3 double crochets per gap in all of these gaps, like just so that it looks something like this, until you come back to where we ended here. So you will do your clusters here and then come back to the video, and I'll show you how to connect to the side and then how to start the next row. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked the first row of the sleeve here, or the increase of the sleeve, and as you can see, that's pretty much how it looks like. So I completed the 3 clusters here, so I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch it to the chain 2 that we had completed to start the row, just so we can complete this row fully like this. Okay, so as you can see, this is how it looks like. And then we're going to start the second row, which is pretty much the repeat from this point on. I'm going to go into here again and complete the other remaining 2 double crochets, because the chain 2 counts as a double crochet. So like that. So now I have 3 double crochets here, and then I'm going to move on to the next gap here, and I'm going to complete 3 double crochets, and then in the next gap I'm going to complete 3 double crochets, and again we just repeat exactly what we just completed in the last row. And then you're gonna do this until you come back to this section here. So I will show you guys how to do this one more time, and then I will have you guys repeat until you build up the length that you need before the calf. Okay, so for now, just go around the circle again here by completing your clusters of 3 double crochets per space, and then come back when you're about to join it at the end. See you guys in a minute. Okay, my lovelies, so I've completed my second row for increasing the sleeves here, and as you can see, again, I am at the end of the second row, so I'm gonna slip stitch on top of this chain 2, just so we can complete the row. Okay, so just like that. Okay, and just one thing to mention, 2 things to mention. So I did tell you earlier that you can have some stitch markers around. So this is probably the only moment you would need to use it, is where we started to increase our sleeves. So as you can see, I did these 1, 2 rows. So if I was you, if you want to keep track of how many stitches you do here, because it's confusing, it literally kind of just goes together with this. Unless you're changing color, I guess, then you will see the different color. But if you're using the same color as I am here, I would just put the stitch marker here, which is just right before the 2 rows that I've just done, and then that way I would know how many rows to do to get my size here, and it will help you for the second part of the sweater, which is the other opposite side. Okay, so we will keep this here. The other thing is, as you can see here, this is the center of where we joined our work, the top, but you will see that as you continue to work your stitches, the where you start the next row continue to move to the right. And that's absolutely normal. It doesn't make a difference in any way at all. You will just, as you can see already here, this is our second row. The last row started here, and now this third row is going to start here, and the next one is going to start here, and it's going to continue to do that. So don't be alarmed if you do see that. So that's the second thing I wanted to mention. Okay, so I will have you, however, continue to build up the length of your sleeve here. When you have reached the part where you just have enough where you will do the calf, then stop there and then come back to the video and I'll show you how to do the calf. But and if you want this sweater to just kind of go all the way down to where you want it to end, because you don't want to kind of shrink it in for the sleeve here, you can just continue to build up and then stop at that moment, okay? But for those of you who want to do a little bit of a snatched in calf here, come back when you have reached just a couple of inches before. Okay, I will see you guys when you have reached that moment. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed about 12 rows here. So I'm just gonna slip stitch on top of this chain 2 to slip stitch that to complete the row. But just so I can show you here, so this is actually what I have so far, and I think this is enough of a sleeve, and I'm gonna do the calf here. So I'm gonna stop it here. So again, from the moment that we stopped here, we started here, I did 12 rows altogether. Okay, so of course you would have done the number of rows based on how long you want your sleeve to be. And again, like I said, if you don't want to do the let's say 3 to 4 inches in the calf to make it tighter, you can obviously increase this by the same amount of inches to go all the way to here on your wrist if you want to leave it flared out like this. But since we're not, I'm going to show you what to do next. So this is obviously too big for me here, so I'm going to need to do the decreases to bring it in a little bit before I can start the calf section of the of my sweater here, on my sleeve. So to do that, I'm going to do a chain 1, and then I'm going to start to decrease pretty much in every row using the single crochet stitches. So I'm going to go into this next stitch right here, like that. Then I'm going to go into the next stitch right here like this. I will end up with 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through all 3. Then I'm going to decrease the next 2. So I'm putting 2 stitches together every time that I go around. And I go into the next one here, and then this one, and I decrease, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm putting 2 stitches together to become 1, and every single one of them is going to be doubled up into 1. And I'm going to do that all around here. Now, other options that you have is to decrease every other stitch, so that in one stitch you do a single crochet, and then in the next stitch you decrease the 2, you put the 2 together, and then do 1 single crochet, put the 2 together. That is if you want it to be a little bit looser here. And the other option is to just decrease every other 2. So you do 2 single crochets so individually, and then the next 2 you put together, and then do 2 single crochets in each stitch, and then do the next 2 together. So there's many ways that you can do this to make sure that you decrease this section here, depending on how wide or loose you want it to be. So again, for me, I'm going to be decreasing every single stitch. So I'm not leaving any stitch standing alone at all. I am just decreasing every single one of them, and this is how I do it here. And again, I'm using the single crochet stitch to decrease. So I'm going to do this all around. When I come back to right here where we just started off, come back to the video and I will show you what to do next, and then we will move on to the next part of this project together. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovely, so we have come to where we started off the project right here. So as you can see, I have 2 more stitches to decrease. So I'm just gonna go in here and then into this final one and complete my decrease, and then I'll go on top of the one that where we started with and do a slip stitch. So just like this. Okay, so that closes that section in, and as you can see, my sleeve is starting to come in a little bit like this. But we're gonna do a stitch that will continue to decrease our work and make it a little bit more narrower, and that is going to be what we do the rest of the remaining part of the sleeve with. Okay, so with this one here, the next row is gonna be very simple. So we're just going to do a row of double crochet around the circle here. Okay, and to do that, you're just going to start by doing a chain of 2. This chain 2 counts as a double crochet. So you're going to go into the next stitch right here and complete a double crochet. Okay, so now you have 2 because this chain 2 counts as a double crochet. Then you're going to go into the next stitch right here and complete a double crochet. And then into the next stitch right here, complete a double crochet. Into the next stitch right here, complete a double crochet. And as you can see, you pretty much just do double crochets around the opening of the sleeve here, and you're going to do this until you come back to where you started off here. So go ahead and do that when you come back to where we started off here. So your final double crochet should be in this stitch right here. Come back, I will show you how to join, and then how to start the next row, and then that will be the repeat row for the remaining of the sleeve here. Okay, so but for now, just complete your double crochets until you get back to here. Okay, my lovelies, so as you can see, I have completed my double crochets around this circle here. So as you can see, my sleeve is starting to kind of come in a little bit there, and I'm just gonna go ahead and slip stitch on top of this chain 2 that we completed, just like that. And then this completes this row here. So this next row is going to be what we repeat. So again, we do a chain 2. So this chain 2 counts as a double crochet, and it's attached to this double crochet here from the previous row. So as you can see, it lines right up to it. So which means we don't work on that stitch, we work on the next one. And so on this next one, we're going to yarn over and go and complete a front post double crochet like this. Okay, and then we're going to go into the next stitch, this one here, and go and do a back post double crochet, and then front post for the next one, and then back post for the next. So we're alternating the front post and the back post double crochets. So again, for those of you who don't know this stitch, well, this the alternation that we do with the back post and the front post double crochet, I will show you 2 more ones, just to go a little bit slower so that you can see and understand exactly what we're doing. Okay, so very easy again. So since we did the front post double crochet here, this next one will be a back post where you just yarn over and then grab this stitch from the back, but you're grabbing the front of it like this, and then completing your double crochet. And then for the front post, you're going to yarn over, go behind this one, and then complete a double crochet, and then go and grab this one in the back and complete a back post double crochet, and then a front post. And then you just do this again all around until you come back to where you just started off here. So I will ask you guys to do that. I will do the same so I can show you how to start this next row. And the next row is going to be easy because you're going to repeat what you do in that row until you have created the length of this section here. So I will see you guys when you have completed this row. Okay, my lovelies, so as you can see, I just did a front post in this stitch right here, and so the next stitch is the one that we did by starting a chain 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and slip stitch on top of the chain 2 that we started this row with, just like this. Okay, so as you can see, this look like a back post, this is a front post, this is a front post. So now we're gonna start the third row, which is your repeat row. You chain 2, and then all you need to do now is just leave this section alone because it lines up to this stitch. But in the next stitch, you just follow what you see. So in this case here, this is a front post. You do a front post because it protrudes towards you. So you'll complete a front post double crochet. This one is kind of on the other side. So you're going to complete a back post double crochet. Then this one is coming towards you in the front. So you're going to complete a front post double crochet. And then you just follow this all around here. You will do your final front post double crochet here, and then slip stitch on top of the chain 2 here, and then repeat that again. And then we just keep doing this until you create the length that you need for your sleeve here. So for me, I'm gonna do probably about 5 to 6 let's say 4 to 5 inches, so something around like that. And then what I will do, I will try it on. If I do see that there's a little bit of a space that I can increase, I will just increase the number of rows that I'm doing until I have it fitting until right here, okay, just like at the end of my wrist. And when I have that, I will come back to you guys. So go do the same, and we will meet when we have created the full sleeve here. See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the sleeve here, the cap of the sleeve. And as you can see, this is how it looks like. I ended up doing 10 rows all together here. So this is how one of the panel pretty much looks like. Almost completed, not quite yet, but almost. But yeah, this is so far what we have. So I'm going to show you one more thing to do with this one panel, and then we will move on to creating a second one that will be exactly identical to this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and increase the middle here. So as you can see, this is my right side, or it's facing my right now, but when I put these on, it will be my left sleeve. But as you can see, when we line it up like this, let's say we have a second one right here. If we join it with this here, it's going to be too close to the section here where we don't have a curve for the neckline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase this section a little bit here, so that when we add it to the second one, that will have the same, that will have an increase as well. We're going to have a gap that increases the back part of our sweater. So as you can see here, this will be the front part of the sweater, and that will be the back. So what I will do is I will go ahead and start increasing this here, so that I can have a little bit of this back kind of increase coming inside like this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started with that here. What I will do is I will flip this like this, so that I can work by increasing it from here and going to this side here. And on one side you will do it I will increase by 3 rows, and on the other panel I'll increase by 2, or vice versa, just so that I can work the joining of the two before we do the front part, where we're pretty much creating the same thing like this, but for the front section and the bottom section of the sweater. Okay, so the first thing I will do here is I will do a slip knot just like this, and then I will go into this corner here, and I will put my hook through, and I'll bring in the little loop from the slip knot, and I'll bring it through here. And then I will do a chain of 2, which counts as a double crochet. And then what I will do here is I will go into this section here and complete 2 more double crochets. So 1, 2 to make it 3, like that. Okay, and then from here on I will skip to this section here and complete 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3, and then I will move to the middle part here and do 3 double crochets as well. So as you may be understanding this by now, we are just completing 3 double crochets in these gaps here all the way to the end here. So continue to do that. When you get to this section here, you will complete 3 double crochets, and then I will show you how to finish it off and then start the second row. So we will only do 2 rows for this side here, and then we will decide later if you want to add 1 more, or if you want to do 3 on this side and 2 on the other one, or vice versa. But for now, because we're not sure exactly how we're going to kind of line it up, I am going to just do 2 rows on this side. You will do 2 rows on the next panel as well, and then we will decide whether we want to increase 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for now, just work this until you get to this corner here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed this first row here, and as you can see, we just did a row that matches the rest of our project, which is 3 double crochets per gap that we have, which means we're skipping the 3 double crochets from the previous row. Okay, so now that I have reached this, I have done my 3 double crochets here, and I'm gonna skip these 3 double crochets here and into the center, which would have been the corner here. I'm going to go ahead and just complete a double crochet in that area like that. Okay, And now we're going to do our second row. I'm going to chain 2 and turn, so just like this. So now I'm working from the inside, and I'm going to do the same where I will complete 3 double crochets in here. So 1, 2, so 3 with the chain 2, and then in the next gap I'm going to go in and complete 3 double crochets, and then I will move into the next gap and complete 3 double crochets. And as you can see here, I am not doing anything different than what we have been doing in terms of doing the granny stitches into the gap, and pretty much that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to complete this all the way to the bottom here. So go ahead and work your double crochets until you have reached this final stop here. When you've reached here, come back to the video and I will show you what to do next. And like I said, I will only do the 2 rows here, and then I will ask you guys, as I will as well, start the second panel, which is pretty much rewinding this video all the way to the beginning and then starting over and completing the second panel. And we will talk a little bit about making sure it's the right side. So we're going to be creating a left and a right side, 2 panels. We're going to talk a little bit about what side you have to do next. Since this is the right one, you're going to need to obviously make sure you're doing the other one as a left one. But for now, let's meet when you get to this corner here. See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so again I have gone ahead and completed my second row of the back increase here, and as you can see I have just completed my cluster of 3 double crochets here. So for the final stitch I'm just going to do a double crochet on top of this chain 2 that we created. So I'm going to yarn over, go on top of the chain 2, and then complete a double crochet like that. Okay, so this is that here. So I'm gonna end this here, and I'm not gonna cut off the yarn yet, because if we do need to do the 3 double crochets rows of increasing in the back on this side here, I would rather have the yarn still attached to it than disconnecting it. But I will just lay the work here so that you can see what we have so far. So as you can see, this is what this looks like. Okay, so this is our sleeve, and then when we move towards the middle, we do have the body starting from here, and then that is the row 2 rows that we have increased here in the middle. Okay, so again, like I said, this is right now on our work table laying on the right hand side of our work. So which means the next one that we do, we're gonna do it to the left side. The only difference in this here is when you do put it flat to increase the back, make sure you're increasing the right side of the left side of the panel, because if you do have it like this and you increase this side, it's gonna make it so that it increases exactly the same side as the one we have just done. So make sure you're laying it down and you're increasing the bottom of the one that is on your left hand side. Okay, so that's it there. I'm gonna go ahead and work on my second panel, which means I just repeat exactly what we have done here. And then when I have my 2 panels completed, I'm going to come back and I will show you what to do. What I will also do is I will determine whether I want the left side or the right side to have the 3 rows, and I will go ahead and increase by adding another row if it's this one, or if it's the left one I want to have 3 rows, I will do the 3 rows when I get to it. Then I will talk to you guys about how we can join the middle, and then how to do the bordering for the body of the sweater, and eventually the bottom part. Okay, I will see you guys when you have completed your second panel. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my second panel, and this is going to be this one on the left hand side. So as you can see, this is pretty much how it looks like. And like I said, I would tell you guys which one I end up doing, the 3 rows for the increase in the back, and I just happen to do the 3 rows on this because you do have to have 3 rows on one side of increase and 2 rows on one side of increase, because when we join it, we're going to be completing the 3rd row for one of the side that has only 2 rows. Okay, so again, this is so far how this looks like. I wish I could expand it on the camera here so you can see everything, but like for example, this is the sleeve on the left hand side, and this is the sleeve on the right hand side, and this is pretty much the body of the scarf right here. Let me see if I can change the angle a little bit here. So I just increased the zoom a little bit so you can see it a little bit wider. It's still not wide enough. The table is not as big as I should have it to show everything, but this is pretty much how it looks like here. Okay, so this is the latest sleeve that I've done with the 3 rows of increase in the back. As you can see, I'm just gonna cut this here and then remove that. And by the way, for those of you who want to know how I did the 3 rows, what I did pretty much after here is I chain 2 to make it the double crochet stitches, and then I did do 2 more double crochets here, and then I just pretty much repeat what we did all the way to this end here. I would complete my final 3 clusters of double crochet here, and then do a double crochet on top of the chain 2 that we had done to start this start this row. So just exactly how we did the second row is how I would do the third row, so nothing complicated in that. Okay, so hopefully it's not confusing you guys too much that I did the second row off camera. Now I'm just gonna cut the yarn for what I have left on this top section here. So I'm gonna cut it somewhere here, and then I will just slip stitch this to lock it in, and I will weave all the ends obviously in at a later time. Okay, now we're going to work on joining the back, and by joining the back we're going to also increase the row by 1 more on the side that has 2 rows, which is this right hand side panel. Okay, so to do that I'm going to flip my work like this, so that it looks like I'm putting them on top of each other, but all I'm really doing is I need the backs to meet. So in this case here, this is the back that I want to meet this like this, and then it goes all the way and it will meet this one like this. And I have the panel that has 2 rows that have 2 rows in the increase in the back towards me, and the row that has 3 away from me, because we are not going to be increasing on that row. We're only increasing on the row that has 2 rows. Okay, on the side that has 2 rows. Again, I hope this is understood and understandable when I talk about these things. If it's not, again, I apologize, but also please message me in the comments below if you have any questions, and I will try to explain it on camera by typing it out. Okay, so we're gonna join this side here to the other back panel, the back of the other panel. And to do that, I'm just going to start by doing a chain of 2 here, and then completing 2 more double crochets into this gap here to make it 3, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take the center of the back here, and I'm going to go from the back, so like this, and bringing in the loop and then slip stitching. So you guys will realize it's very, very similar to what we did for the other panel. Okay, the other side that we're working with earlier when we're joining the top. Then I'm going to go into the next area here, the next gap, and complete 3 double crochets. So just like this. I just want to make sure I do this correctly here. So 2 and 3. And then I'm going to go into this gap here, and I'm going to go from the back of it and complete a slip stitch. And then I'm going to go into the next gap and complete 3 double crochets. So I am doing my 3rd row on the side that had only 2 rows, but at the same time joining it to the other panel from the back. Okay, so this is pretty much what you will do all the way to the top of our back here. And when we have everything joined, then we can work on doing the this outside borders for the project. So as you can see so far, this is how this looks like. When we work around here, we're going to be able to fix these areas that looks a little bit gappy here when we work ourselves around. Okay, so go ahead and continue working this until you get all the way to the top. When you have reached there, come back and I will show you what to do next. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have joined the project, and as you can see all the way here, so I have just 1 more to complete at the end. So for this last one, I'm just going to yarn over go into the chain 2 space that I did before, the chain 2 on top of the chain 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab the last stitch on the other side as well, and I'm going to bring it through, and then I'm going to complete a slip stitch. Okay, like pretty much like I have double crochet, but I slip stitch all those together. Okay, so for this top part here, this is how it looks like. We've finished joining that. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm gonna cut this somewhere here, and that completes the joining of the project in the back. And I'm going to slip stitch this like this, and then I'm going to knot these two pieces together just to complete that section there. And then again, as you know, we're gonna be working on that part to make sure we make it neat and good. Okay, so now that I have completed that, I'm going to put my project back like this so that you can see. Okay, so I just kind of zoomed again here so you can see it a little bit in a wider lens. So this is pretty much how it looks like. So we have this gap in the middle now that makes it sense, so that we have our neckline and we don't have to have this kind of like jointing like this, which would have been like too tight for coming behind our neck. Okay, all right, so this part is done. So now I'm going to kind of talk to you guys about how we're going to do the sleeves. And the sleeves are going to, not the sleeve, sorry, the border part here, we're going to use the same stitch as we did for the sleeve, which means we're going to start somewhere here. So you have two options. You can either work on the bottom part here first and then work on the middle section, or you can do the vice versa. So I think what I will do is I will work on the bottom section here first, which means I pretty much complete a row of double crochet in the bottom, and then do maybe 3 to 4 rows of this in the bottom, and then I will repeat that same thing in the middle section here. Okay, so I'm gonna grab another skein of yarn, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to do the bottom here. Okay, so I've pivoted my work so that I have the bottom is what you see here. So this will be the bottom of a sweater. The first thing I will do is do a slip knot here, or yeah, a slip knot like this. And then I will go ahead and start by going into the middle here and then bringing my hook through and then doing a chain 2 and chain 2 counting as a double crochet. And then from there on, I'm gonna go into the next stitch, this one here, and complete a double crochet. And then into the next stitch, I'm gonna complete a double crochet. Into the center here, I'm gonna go ahead and do a double crochet. And then into this stitch here, I'm going to complete a double crochet. Oops. And I'm going to this stitch here and complete a double crochet. And then into this stitch, complete a double crochet. And as you can see, we're just creating double crochet stitches, and we're going to follow these around all the way to this center here where we'll do our final double crochet. And for this middle section here, you will do a double crochet on top of this stitch here. And then the next double crochet stitch will skip over to the other side on top of this and do a double crochet there, and then just follow the routine. And in these sections here, you're going to literally do 2 double crochets on top of these sections here. So 1, 2, the next one will be in this gap here, and then 1, 2, then in the gap, and then 1, 2, just pretty much what we're doing on this side here. So when you complete that, you're gonna come back, and then I will show you how to do the front post, back post double crochets, and then we will do that for a couple of rows, and then we will remove our yarn and then repeat the same thing that we just did on this section of the inside of the sweater. All right, so go ahead and do that, and I will see you guys when you have completed this row of double crochets. Okay, my lovelies, so I have actually completed the double crochet stitches in the bottom part of the sweater here, but I think I'm gonna do just continue it around and work this whole border here as one piece, as opposed to doing the bottom first and then the middle part later. So what I've decided here is, as you can see, I've just done my double crochet in the center here. So instead of turning around and then we work our stitches back this way, I am just going to complete the center here, which is another double crochet, and then another one to make it 3, and then chain 1, and then I'll do 3 more. So I will continue to maintain this corner here as I work on my stitches, and then I will just continue the other side of this and we will see how that goes. So as you see, I will just go here and do a double crochet after doing my corner. So I have 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and then I will just continue with doing my double crochets on every stitch around, and I will continue these all here. Then when I get to this top section here, again I will do 2 double crochets here, 2 double crochets here, 2 double crochets here. Any of these gaps here will get 2 double crochets for the double crochets that we're creating. And then when we get back to the other side, in this corner here, I will do 2 double crochets and then do the regular double crochets on top of each of these stitches all the way around to the bottom. So I will continue to do that. When you get to the bottom, come back to the video. I will show you how to start first of all how to finish this corner, because as you remember, I only did 1 double crochet here, which is the chain 1 in this corner. So I will make sure we create the corner just like this, and then we will start the next row, which is the front post, back post double crochets. Okay, but for now, work these double crochets all around until you come back to this part here. I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have just completed my double crochet rows around here. So as you can see, I had started in the bottom here and I had gone all around the bottom here and then created my corner here and then continued all around, and then I went back and then I have ended here. Okay, so I'm pretty much where I started off. So I'm gonna show you how we're going to finish these off here, and then how we're going to start the next row, which is the row of the front post and back post double crochet. And we're going to do that until we are satisfied with the size that we're going to get of it. And so that's going to be up to you, whether you want to do 5 rows, 6 rows, even 10 rows to match the sleeves. That's up to you. But as you can see here, I did 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then I'm going to do 2 double crochets because I already have 1. Remember when I started this row, I started in the center and I did a chain 2, which counts as a double crochet. So I'm going to do 2 more double crochets here to make it 3 with that one. Okay, so 1 and 2. And then I'm going to slip stitch on top of this chain 2 here to close these off, so that there are 3 double crochets here, chain 1, and then 3 double crochets here. Okay, and that matches the section that I did here. All right, okay, so now we're going to start the next row, and from here I am just going to do a chain of 2, which counts as a double crochet again, and I'm going to go into this next stitch right here, and I'm going to create a front post double crochet like that. And then I'm going to use this stitch here and do a back post double crochet. Okay, let's go back. A back post double crochet there, and then a front post double crochet here. Then a back post double crochet. Then a front post double crochet. And as you can see here, we're just going to alternate this all around. So I'm going to do it until we get back to this corner here. When we get to this corner here, I will show you how to continue to keep that corner created and sharp like that, and then we will move on to do the rest of it. And when we complete this row here, I will show you how to start the second row, and then I will have you guys repeat until you have the size that you want for your borders here. Okay, so for now, just work your front post double crochet, back post double crochet until you get to this corner here. As a matter of fact, work until you get to this last stitch, not the 3 that goes into the same spot, the one that is a standalone. Do whatever post that you need to do here. It could be a back or front post, and then come back and I will show you how to continue to create this corner here and how to continue to the other side. Okay, I will see you guys when you get to that spot. Okay, my lovelies, so I have just reached the corner here. So we started down in this corner here and now I'm here, so I just did the bottom and we still have the whole front to do, but I came here to show you how to progress into the center part here. So as you can see, I did a front post double crochet right here. So for this stitch, I'm going to do a back post double crochet just like that, and then I'm going to do a front post for this one here. And then we're not going to do anything for this stitch right here. We're just going to go straight into the center. So we're skipping that stitch and going into the center, and then completing 3 double crochets, then chain 1, and then 3 double crochets into the center. Okay, so we're creating our corner here. So just like that. 2, 2, and then 3. Okay, and then for the next part, so as you can see here, this is the front post double crochet. We're going to do a front post double crochet on this side, so we're skipping the first stitch right here, and in this second one we're going to do a front post double crochet like so, and then a back post double crochet for that stitch, and then a front post double crochet, and then a back post, and then we continue from here. And then I will have you guys just do the same, continuing to do the same all here. There's nothing to do until you come back to this end here. So continue working your stitches. When you have the 3, when you have reached the one right before the cluster in the middle, come back and I will show you how to start the finish that off, and then how to start the new row here. And yeah, so go ahead and I will meet you guys when you get to this section right here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked myself to where we started off the row here, and as you can see, I did my front post double crochet and then a back post double crochet and then 1 stitch left, this one here. So I'm not going to work anything into that. I'm going to go right into the middle, and I'm going to complete my 3 double crochets in the middle, and then I'm going to chain 1 and do 3 more double crochets. So 3 and then chain 1, and then I'm going to do 3 more in the middle, just like that. And then I'm going to skip this stitch right here, and in this one here I am going to complete a front post because there's 2 stitches here. This one, there's actually one, sorry, this one is attached to this one, so I'm actually going to do a front post in this one here. So this one here, we're going to do a front post double crochet, and then this stitch here is attached to my chain 2 where I started off the row, so I'm not going to do anything in that, but I'm going to slip stitch on top of that chain 2 like this to complete the row. Okay, so this is how this looks like, and if you look at this corner that we did earlier, it matches this corner. Okay, so something like that. This is what we have done here, and then I'm going to chain 2 and then start my second row of the front post back post double crochet, and in this one here, of course, because this is protruding towards me, I'm going to do a front post in that one, and then a back post in the next, and then a front post in this one, and then a back post in the next. And again, I don't have to show you guys a complete row again. You're just going to repeat this, what we have done in the second row here. You're going to repeat until you have the amount of rows that you think is enough for your border. And again, just to let you guys know, and when you come to the corner here, let me just flip it the right way like this, so you will work yourselves around. You're just going to follow how the order is here. So this is a front post double crochet. You're going to do a front post here. This is going to then become your back post double crochet by default. This one is going to be your front post double crochet, and then you go into the middle and do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and then you skip this stitch here. This next stitch here is going to be a front post double crochet. This one is going to be a back post double crochet, and then by default this is a front post double crochet because it's a front post, and then a back post is this one, a front post, and then you just continue, and then when you do your next row you do the exact same thing again. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna let you guys work your work from here. I will do the same. I will say I have 2 rows now. I will probably work about 5 and then try it on and see how it is. If I think it's still kind of like too gappy in the center of my chest and I need to make it a little bit more closer, I will do more rows. And then when we have the number of rows we think is enough, we're gonna come back to the video and we will look at how it is. And by that time we will honestly be done, so we will just kind of make sure we look at our work to make sure it looks as well as we want it to be. Okay, I will see you guys at that time. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and done 5 rows for the border of the sweater here. So as you can see, that is how many 10 or 5 rows is compared to the 10 rows that we did for the sleeve here. And so I'm gonna stop here because I don't want to make it too tight here for the middle part of my sweater. So I think like this is perfect. And yeah, so I have reached the end here, and all I will do is just slip stitch to this section here, and then we will cut our yarn and weave it in, and that's pretty much going to be the end of the project. So as you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch on top of the chain 2 where we started this row with, and slip stitch like that, and that closes that off. I'm gonna grab my scissors, just cut it somewhere here, not too much, not to waste too much yarn. This is enough, and then I'm gonna slip stitch here. Okay, so that closes and finishes this 5th row here, and so I'm gonna go ahead and weave these in, and that will be the end of it. So as you can see, I cannot show you the whole thing on camera here, obviously, but like this is pretty much the end of the project. So this is one of the sleeves here, and then we go, and this is the middle part, and then we go on to the other side of the sleeve. Okay, so I'm not going to obviously show you too much here left. There's nothing else to be done. So if you're making it at this length, at this size, at this everything, then this is how your sweater would look like. I will go ahead and weave in my ends, and then I will finish the project. So I hope you guys enjoyed making this one with me. In the near future, I'll be making one that is a long one. And as you have seen at the beginning of the video, I made one the way I changed the colors, and I made one where I just left everything flared out, so I don't have the sleeves done like this. They just fall you know, straight down, so it stops kind of somewhere here, and the bottom part as well. So yeah, so I did not show you guys how to do that one on video, but it's pretty much the same as we do this. But when I do the long one, I will pretty much explain how and where you will stop if you're just doing the one that kind of falls and flares out for the sleeves especially. Okay, all right, well, thank you so much again. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment, and make sure if you have any questions, just make sure you drop a comment below, and I will go ahead and see you in the next one. Bye.